guys, and welcome back to another Marg Diaries video. Hi everyone, I hope you guys are all doing so well. I know it's been a little bit since I last posted anything, and I think the title of this video kind of alludes to or gives like some sort of like hindsight as to why I haven't posted a video in a hot minute. But for today's video, I really want to take the time to offer my personal advice and my tips and tricks as to what I did this past weekend to kind of help my slump or this situation that I'm in currently. And just to preface, before we continue with the rest of the video, just by doing the things I did in this video doesn't mean that you can automatically get out of a slump per se or put an end to your burnout. But for me personally, these are things that I think have helped me in the past and have continued to help me feel better about being in a slump and kind of push me towards getting out of one. So I hope that with today's video you guys can take some advice and some things to do when you're in a situation similar to mine. So let's get into the video. Alright, so the first thing I kind of want to talk about is what exactly is burnt out, or what does it mean to be in a slump. And this, I feel like these two terms have kind of like prefaced or resurfaced as of recently, I think. But burnout is essentially when you experience some sort of mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. It could be a combination of all three, and it's really similar, or if not, I guess adjacent to being in a slump, which is experiencing a period of unproductivity essentially, and kind of feeling lost and stuck and unable to control the situation you're in. And the first thing that I always do when I feel like I'm feeling like this is I try my best to identify the source of why I'm feeling like this. And it's not to say that it's only going to be one source, that the reason why you're feeling burnt out or kind of like existentially tired is only going to be from one reason. It could be like an accumulation of things, and for me it was exactly that. I think as of lately, being a senior in high school, and I talk about this a lot in my videos, but just having to think about the future and having to think about college applications and worrying about where you're going to be a year from now can be really scary and really intimidating. And I think that that's one of the triggers that I often experience is school. And I know it's a little like, girl, like, yes, like school is a definite trigger of stress, but obviously there are times when it like can accumulate and it gets to a point where you just are burnt out. And not only that, but in my own personal life I have a sense of like balance, and when that balance is kind of like I guess like disturbed with my work life and school balance, that can be really stressful as well. Like, I got a job this past year, and I love working there. It's my favorite thing to do. I work as a barista, and I love the job that I do. I think it's so fun being able to make drinks and, you know, have like those customer service qualities, but obviously sometimes that can get really tiring, and if it's a consistent thing, then it obviously can take the joy out of doing it. So that's another thing. And then other thing that I've noticed is just kind of trying your best to adjust to changes in life, like really general changes in life. Aside from like school, work, and all that, I also had my 18th birthday recently. So I recently just turned 18, and I know that like as I get older, like birthdays kind of just seem like another day. Like, although they're like special, like they kind of just seem like any other day, but my 18th birthday kind of like solidified like, whoa, like you're going to be an adult, like this is crazy, like things are happening. And when I kind of thought about that, I was like, oh, that's scary. I don't really like that much. But that was definitely like, ooh, like I don't know if I really was prepared to feel that way. And those are just like the accumulation of things that I was feeling, and I realized that it was making me feel really, really tired and kind of just needing to take a really big break from things. And I obviously, it's not to say that I would like drop everything that I was doing and just like, I don't know, stay home and sleep all day. Although that sounds like lovely, but I know that's not going to be beneficial to my health in the long run. So, whenever I do experience these things and whenever I do first identify what's causing my burnout, I always like to do a little self-care. I feel like that's always like my first like step in anything. And I also have like a self-care video, an in-depth one. I posted like a while ago, so I'll definitely link that. But the first thing that I did was this past weekend, I wanted to take the time to do the things that I enjoy and really be able to eliminate, if not make, my burnout situation better. So anyways, going back to what I did first, I took the time to really take an everything shower, and I mean like everything shower. Like, obviously, I know that as of lately, like everything showers have kind of been this like really popular concept, quote unquote. But genuinely, I think they are so beneficial. Like, really taking the time to do things in the shower. Like, I whipped out my whole body scrub, I did my whole hair routine, and I got some like new like body washes, and doing things like that just like really make me happy. Like, taking care of myself like physically is one thing that always brings me joy, I feel like. It's also like in burnout, I feel like for me personally, I really don't pay much attention to caring for myself physically. Like, obviously for like day to day, I'll put on makeup and I'll just be like, yeah, like that's fine, whatever. But I was not taking care of myself like that. So I feel like when all that, like, I don't want to say grossness, because I'm not gross, but like I feel like definitely when all that stuff accumulates, taking a nice like hot or cold shower, I don't know if like cold showers, some people like cold showers, I prefer like hot water first and then like a little bit of cold water at the end. But yes, just like really taking the time to like, I want to say like relax in the shower. Like, I played some music, I listened to a podcast like halfway through, and it was really nice. And just being able to do that and just really take the time to kind of like silence your headspace a little bit and just kind of be in the shower, I guess. That's something that always helps me, and it definitely helped me. A side note, but I almost forgot to mention it, is that I was also able to clean my room this past weekend. I think that as minuscule as it may sound and as general as it is, I feel like when you put off cleaning your room, that can also make for a very messy headspace, and a clean environment is always better for better headspace function. So I took the time to clean my room, and I was able to like put away laundry and clean up and tidy up some things. And I think that, you know, your room is kind of like an expression of yourself. So when you clean it and have it all tidied up, that also really helps with burnout. Alright, so the next thing that I think is very, very important is being able to take a good night's sleep or have a good night's rest. I think in general, I'm not the type of person to really take naps often. Just because I have this like mindset where I feel like it's like a waste of my day. But obviously taking naps isn't really a waste of your day. If you need to rest and if you need your body to recharge, I think it's very important to sleep. And sleep also is just very important for a number of reasons. Just being able to function properly and have your brain function and just have a lot of energy for your days to come. But that night, after I took a shower, I got into some really comfy PJs, and I actually got a new, I don't know if you guys can see it, hold on. I got it's blocked my water bottle, but a humidifier. And literally ever since I got this humidifier last Friday, literally changed my like sleep because of how like clear the air is. And I love a little night light when I sleep, so that's really nice. And a good night's sleep isn't essentially like, I don't want to say like sleeping super early and then waking up super early. I think that a good night's sleep is just being able to get those 6 to 8 hours if you can. And just in general, just being able to really be comfortable while you sleep is also very important. So that's another thing that I did. I think that all those nights of like staying up to do schoolwork really caught up to me, and my body was just very exhausted. So having a good night's sleep this past weekend was really nice as well. So after getting a good night's rest, the next thing that I did in the morning was I woke up at a pretty early time. Not as early as my usual during school, but still pretty early. And I love being able to wake up early. I think that in general, just being able to romanticize and kind of look forward to seeing the sunrise is also something that I look forward to and makes me feel very joyous throughout the day. I always try to do that. Whether it's a school day or a weekend, I love waking up early. And I love trying to wake up early, so yeah. But definitely I woke up early and I took a walk. I think another really important thing is just being able to visit nature, if that's kind of like your jive. But for me, it's very important for me to kind of like reconnect with the outside world for a little bit when I get so overconsumed by, like, I don't want to say electronics, but maybe electronics, yeah. Like, I think that it comes to a point where you're just always constantly in front of your laptop doing work, or you're always just constantly like face to face with like books and like writing. I think that sometimes it's nice for your brain to kind of just experience nature and the beauty of it around you. So what I did that day is I took a nice little walk to the park in my neighborhood, and I don't live far from the park at all. It's like very much a blessing to live that close to a playground. And for some reason, there's not a lot of kids that go to that playground. I think maybe just because like of the times that I do go. But it was really nice because the sun was sort of still rising, and I bundled up because it's literally winter and it's freezing, especially in the morning. So I took a nice little walk, really short walk, not too long, and I kind of just sat for a little bit and just kind of like observed. And I listened to a new book that I am currently reading or listening to via an audiobook, but it's Joan Didion's A Year of Magical Thinking, and I believe it's I want to say like her most known novel, but I also really enjoyed The White Album. That's another one of my favorite books that I read over the summer. It was really good. But that's also another thing that I feel like is really important, is just being able to kind of just not do anything and just kind of like listen. I sat in the park for a little bit, just listening to the audiobook, and it felt really peaceful and really relaxing for me. I hadn't done that in a while, and I feel like just being able to get out again and just kind of observe the things around me was very beautiful and very calming for me. And that kind of leads me to the next point that I did, which was doing a hobby that I haven't done in a long while, and that was baking. I haven't really taken the time to bake anything in a hot minute. Like, I feel like baking is probably one of my most favorite hobbies that I do, and I love baking just because, like, just making baked goods for other people, and food really is a universal love language for me. I think that, like, in general, baking or cooking, I think if it brings somebody joy, like something that you can create, that's wonderful. So that's what I did. I baked some banana bread and some chocolate espresso, I guess it's sea salt espresso chocolate cookies. Yeah. But I feel like it was very nice for the weather since it was kind of rainy, and I listened to some jazz music. Listening to jazz always helps me. But I think that just partaking or doing a hobby that you haven't really done in a while, or maybe rediscovering a hobby discovering a hobby that you didn't know that you enjoyed, I think that's always such a great thing to do, especially when you've been feeling very burnt out. Just because of the fact that we tend to forget how much joy we get from our little hobbies and our little trade. So I think that was a very fun thing for me to do, and it definitely brought me a lot of solace and peace in my mind, and also very delicious treats. So yes, if you like to bake, I suggest baking. Okay, so aside from those things, I noticed that because of all those weeks that I've been feeling that I was in a slump, I really kind of secluded myself from enjoying spending time with the people that I love and my close friends. I think that in general, burnout tends to make you feel very much comfortable in your own presence, and that's a good thing, of course, like being comfortable with yourself, but I think seclusion is a whole different thing. So I definitely took the time this past weekend to spend some time with my loved ones, and we watched a movie. We watched the Wicked movie that came out recently. That was really good. I watched Wicked on Broadway with my mom like a few years back, probably when I was like, I want to say when I was 13, I watched it on Broadway, and it was very good. I loved it so much, and the movie was really nice. I think that, like, whether it be watching a movie, going out to the park, whatever it may be, whatever brings you joy with other people, I would say that just take the time to do it and find the time to do it, because although it may seem very much like your world is kind of really overwhelming, especially when you're stressed out due to a lot of things that you feel like you can't control, it's always nice to take a breather and realize that the burden really isn't your own. I think that in general, when you surround yourself with good people and surround yourself with people who add value to your life, that just makes things a whole lot better. Second to lastly, aside from spending time with other people, it's always a good thing to spend some time with yourself. I'm like a very strong advocate on being comfortable spending or going out with yourself. I think that in general, I started to become comfortable going out by myself as a freshman in high school, just because I realized that I didn't really know anyone in high school, and obviously I made friends as the years went along, but I think just being able to go out by yourself is truly such a gift that should be appreciated. I watched a video recently, and it was talking about how it is a privilege to be in your own company, and it's so true. I talk about it a lot in my past videos, but I think it's just such a value to be able to take yourself out and do things that you love on your own. And obviously it's a nice thing to spend some time with other people, like I said before, but the other day I took myself out on a little study date to the library, or Barnes & Noble, which is a library, just like a chain library. But I hadn't been to Barnes & Noble in a hot minute, and if you guys don't know what a Barnes & Noble is, it's basically like a giant library with a cafe and a lot of other like little trinkets and stuff. But yeah, it was very nice, and I actually live really close to Barnes & Noble. But it was really nice because I just kind of sat in a quiet corner, and I was able to feel productive at the same time because I did some schoolwork, I took some notes, I did some college stuff, and that was really nice. And I put on a little cutie outfit that I thought was like really nice as well. But I think just doing that in general really helped me and made me feel more motivated to do things and get things off my checklist. I think that another really key thing about burnout, for me at least, is that when I have a checklist to do, the things just keep on piling up, and when I say I'm just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I don't end up doing it, and the list gets longer and longer. So I think one of the key things especially is to romanticize doing things that you kind of find dread in, and that's exactly what I did. I was able to get so much done, and I felt really happy. I had a cutesy little drink, and it was just a very quiet and calm environment. And aside from that, I had also walked around a little bit. Like, I obviously couldn't just like go to Barnes & Noble and not get anything, and there were just like so many book options and so many things to see. But yeah, I loved spending time in Barnes & Noble, and I was there for a couple hours just by myself, and it was really nice. I listened to some music, and yeah, it was a really nice experience overall. So this is your reminder to go out and spend some time with yourself. I think that in general, you are the best date you can have, so I always try to do that with myself. Alrighty, so aside from all those things I talked about, and I hope that I'm not going too fast, because that's another thing that I always do, is I talk really fast and I go over things, but I feel like I just have like so many ideas in my head. But another thing that I feel like is also really important, which can be done in like different ways, but I think that reflecting on your emotional and mental well-being is so important. And I've been the type of person to really prioritize that ever since I got to high school, because I just think that, aside from growing socially as a person, one thing that I have kind of prioritized is growing myself emotionally and mentally. And one of those things that really helps with that is getting a journal. So I just grabbed my journals, and I actually got another one, but these are my free journals that I have currently on rotation. And this one, obviously, I consider a journal because I use it for all of my video ideas. So this is actually really cute. I think I got this in a little shop in town, But it says notes I wish I had taken, but I did not take notes, and now I cannot remember what was said, but you can remember because it's in here. So I love writing down like all my little ideas. Like I have a lot of like little things that I write, like whether it be like if I'm sitting at school and I was like, this is an idea that I had, I definitely still write it down. And this one kind of goes with me like everywhere. This one is actually something, or the journal that I kind of really started with like deep diving and writing. It's a lot, like, but I truly think that journaling in general is such a helpful practice, whether it's like 3 pages a day or like 1 to 3 pages a day. I think that just being able to take the time to sit down and kind of reflect on everything that's going on in your life. I have so many pages that I look through and I'm just like, wow, like this is crazy. Like I cannot believe this. Like I cannot believe like my mind and everything that was like going on in my life during that point. But the beauty of it is that when you look back at these journal pages and when you look back at all the things that happen in your life, you realize how much you've truly grown. And that's one thing that I truly admire always, is watching my self-growth and even just being in the presence of others. I truly think that there's just so much that goes on in our minds that we love to dismiss because there's just so much going on in the world as well and in our lives. So journaling truly helps me so much. And another thing I want to preface is that like literally journaling doesn't have to be like writing like pen and paper. It can be video journaling, or it could be maybe in the form of drawing. I feel like drawing could be like journaling. I know that some people have these new like, oh my god, there's a journal that I really want called like Louise Carmen, I think, like the Louise Carmen journals, and they're so beautiful. They just have like little charms on them, and I don't personally have like the aesthetic bullet journaling, if you guys know what that is, which is like having all like the highlighters and all that. A lot of this is just a lot of like, I want to say like a stream of consciousness on paper, but just in general, going back to like what I said before, I think that writing down your feelings and seeing it on paper is just so important, because it's kind of hard to ignore them when you see them in front of you. And by kind of acknowledging them and being able to actually like interpret them kind of helps you maybe ameliorate them or make yourself feel better. So journaling is one of my best pieces of advice. Alright guys, so that was kind of the last point that I wanted to talk about in today's video. And I'm so sorry if it was a little chaotic. Like I said before, I talk really fast, and I hope that you guys were able to like kind of interpret what I was saying for this video. But I guess the last thing that I want to kind of re-emphasize is just really how important it is to recognize what it looks like to be in a slump, or recognize when you might be in a sense of burnout. I know that for the longest time, whenever I was feeling this way and feeling like unproductive and just down in life, I didn't really know what to call that or what to make of it, and I kind of just ignored it. So I think I always give myself a pat on the back, and I think that we should all give ourselves a little pat on the back when we recognize that these things can be changed and can be made better if we just take the time to really do things to make them better. But yeah, and I hope that in this video that's what I was able to offer you guys, and just kind of things that I personally do that kind of help me in these situations. And if I didn't mention anything that you might do that helps you a lot, please feel free to share this in the comments. I love reading the comments. I love hearing the positive feedback and some of the things that you guys like to do as well. But yeah, I am so glad that I made this video. It truly makes me feel better, and I hope that made you guys feel better. And I guess that's it. I love you all so much, and stay tuned for more videos, and I promise I will be getting them out there. So yeah, bye guys.